Hey, welcome back to the Moxie Movement. I'm Sarah Greener. I'm your host and the creator of the Moxie Business Advantage and the Power Hour Time Back system. This is where we are all about helping mums in business make sure that their life and business are beautifully aligned without sacrificing themselves. I'm super passionate about this because I went through that journey. I was sacrificing being a parent and being a partner to my husband to find business success by working harder and longer. The success metrics that people are selling you of lots and lots of sales, like across the business, and I think at the time we were turning over like $5 million. And people are always talking about building a 7-figure business. We had multiple 7-figure businesses, and the success that people see in those top line numbers does not feel good. If there's not enough money left over, not enough time left over, and not enough energy left over to be the person you want to be. I had certainly given away my being. I was just a person that had a purpose for everybody else and didn't have anything for me. The MBA came out of that. The frameworks that I have created are about how do we get women to get the result that they want to have in their business without them having to be in it all the time, without them having to work longer and harder hours. I'm not saying that there's not effort involved. I'm not saying that there's not going to be challenging moments. I'm just saying, how do we make it as easy as possible? How do we give them the frameworks to make this easy? We started applying these frameworks, and again, I'm not a perfect human being, so I don't use them all the time. I fall off the wagon sometimes with doing the Power Hour. I'm better now because we've installed an accountability call for our clients on a Thursday morning. So now I do it more consistently because I have to show up for them. We'll always do more for other people than we'll do for ourselves, which is hilarious. And it's just about having a space and time where I'm showing up to plan my week in advance and they're doing theirs at the same time. It's not rocket science. It just happens that when I'm doing it, I know that I've got to show up for them and they feel the same obligation to show up for me. The Power Hour, particularly as a starting point for any woman who's wanting to get into business and have a family and maintain a relationship and maintain her own health and well-being, for me is the cornerstone to everything that we do. I can sit here in a house in Thailand the night after going to a full moon circle with my 12-year-old daughter who sat around the fire with 20 other women and shared that she was letting go of some experiences that she'd had with other girls at her school before she left New Zealand, and that she was letting go of them and letting go of the reaction she had to what happened, and speaking her truth out loud in front of a whole lot of women she only just met that night. Like, this kid went around and introduced herself. We're doing that because 7, nearly 8 years ago now, Scarlett was like, "Mum, you need to be home on Christmas Day." She was already wiser and more connected than I at 5. She's still the same now at 12, and I hope that we can provide a space for her to stay that way. The reason I can do those things, the reason we can travel, the reason we can be away from our tourism business and we can be away from my coaching business. I see my clients, in one of the programs a couple of times a week and the other one a couple of times a month, through the power of the internet. The reason that we're able to do that is because we deliberately decided what we wanted and then we went out and built it. And truthfully, when Jonny and I first sat down to go, well, what do we actually want? I didn't want to do this location-free living. I liked the concept of traveling for a little bit and then going back to our home in New Zealand was kind of where I was at. Jonny was really keen to do the not based anywhere, far more slow travel and a much more extensive travel version. This was on his list more strongly than it was on mine. I thought we would settle and build up an investment property portfolio. He was right and I was wrong. This whole living location free with no stuff. We still have a property at home that we're invested in, and we will keep it because it gives us that security of being able to go back to New Zealand if we want. And I suspect we may do some more property investment in the future. And Jonny's got some other ideas about what he'll do in terms of growing our wealth. Now that we're here and we have no things, a couple of scooters, my computer, we have minimal things, the clothes that we wear, and life is so much better. We are thoroughly enjoying not being tied to things and stuff. The lightness and the freedom that it's given us is huge. Last night was just a really great example for me of that with Scarlett, is that things and stuff isn't what she needs to stay connected to who she is and become a vibrant expression of herself. It's about helping her stay connected to herself and giving her the skills and tools to process life experiences and understand her own emotions and things like that. I look at the life that we have now, and I'm very, very grateful for past Sarah and Jonny to sit down and have that conversation about what we wanted in the future. If you haven't done it, it's not an easy thing to do. I was doing it with someone the other day who's substantially younger than me, and I think if you'd asked me to do it when I was 23, 24, back here living on an island in Thailand, I would have been like, I don't need to do that. And I do wish I had been that deliberate. If you're just getting started, thinking about and designing what it is you want from your business, and more importantly from your life, so that your business can support that, and being really deliberate about the choices you make, whether you're just getting started, you're partway in, like hitting pause right now, making those decisions, I promise you your future self will thank you. I'm just having a really appreciative moment for past Sarah and Jonny, and past Scarlett, because she was the one that called me out on that Christmas day so that we could be here, because it was a beautiful night last night. And after we'd done it, we went and we had a swim with the phosphorescence. It's not as good as the phosphorescence on the boat in New Zealand. If you want to see like incredible phosphorescence, don't go on the full moon though. Go on the boat, go on the rock in the Bay of Islands and go and do the night kayaking. Oh, it's magic. It really is magic. The Bay of Islands phosphorescence on a dark night is world class. You can't beat it. So just grateful, appreciative of life at the moment. When I finish recording this podcast, I'm going to jump on my scooter. We traded in an electric car for a second-hand scooter because I'm definitely going to drop it at some point. And you just know that at some point I might knock it over when I'm trying to park it or something. I'll do something silly. Trading in the things and stuff for the memories and the experiences and the moments has been a really great shift for us. I'm not saying, hey, come live my life. I'm saying just be deliberate about your life. Because for some people, the thought of moving around and traveling and being location free, not having a base, no matter how slow you go, you still don't really have a base. It's not yours. Terrifies the hell out of people. And they're like, no, Sarah, it's absolutely not for me. And I am totally cool with that. Build what works for you. Trying to get into somebody else's life is extremely uncomfortable. The Power Hour allows you to go, well, what are my highest life priorities? And what do I want from each of those 10 years into the future? How I parent and how all my clients parent are going to be super different. What they desire for their children, what I desire for mine are completely different. Other than that, we all want them to be functioning in the world at some point without us. What I want for my business and what they want for their business are two really different things. Well, most of them have a physical in-person element to their business. And I have to really cultivate that. Bring my clients to me in the Bay of Islands in November. Bring my clients to me here in Thailand in June. It's going to be so much fun. Cannot wait to share. It's a really magical, special place because it's where Jonny and I met. We have some great memories. And also just being back here with Scarlett and sharing that. It's kind of cool. You don't have to build someone else's business or life. You just have to build yours deliberately. On this beautiful Saturday morning when I'm recording this for you, I'm just having a moment of appreciation for the Greener family 7 years ago who made decisions to get themselves to here. It hasn't unfolded exactly as we had planned. There's been some speed bumps along the way on that journey. I'm incredibly grateful that we're here and that we're having these experiences together. At least 90%, probably higher, of people that I work with don't price their products high enough, don't price their services well enough, totally diminish their value and their business's value in order to get the work. If you're still charging what you were charging 2 years ago, congratulations, you gave yourself a pay cut. This is the theme that I see over and over again. Oh, we haven't done a price increase for 2 years, 3 years, 6 years. In some cases, like 10. Like, that's a really long time not to increase your prices. If you notice all the big corporate successful businesses, successful on certain metrics, they send you a letter or an email every year that says, by the way, our prices are going up. We've done everything we can to reduce costs and we're still putting your prices up. And they don't apologize for it. They just tell you that it's happening and then they do it. Some people don't even tell you they're doing it. They just put them up. Being to the supermarket and being like, these guys don't apologize for it. They just go, well, the apples were more expensive to buy from the grower this week. Put another $1 on a kilo. They don't apologize for putting their prices up. They just do it. And I think as women in business, we apologize way too much for our pricing and what we're charging. We consistently undervalue our work. I do understand why we do it. And I hope that we will do the work to unpack this. We undervalue our work because Our labour has traditionally been considered the labour that happens for free. When that happens in the household, when we cook, we clean, we parent for free, it has a cost, of course, we know that, but we are not physically paid for it or acknowledged for it, then of course we're going to take that underlying belief of my time is not valuable into our businesses and then apply it in the business. We take that undervaluing of who we inherently are, our worth inherently as women, we take that undervaluing of it into our businesses, and then it does all sorts of terrible things in our businesses. It leaves us struggling to pay ourselves a market salary and make a profit. Undervaluing ourselves is an underlying belief that societally we have to unpack, which I definitely want to unpack for my daughter. Secondly, it's something that we have to notice and shift for in our businesses immediately. You cannot keep undercharging for your work in your business if you want to stay in business. You can stay in business and make no money for a really, really long time. You can. And that doesn't mean it's a good idea. There are people out there that have written books and are held up on pedestals that ran companies that sold for millions that never turned a profit. And yeah, if you're going to be one of those companies that builds something that you're going to sell for millions and millions of dollars that never makes any money, okay, maybe that's the exception, not the rule. You actually need your business to be profitable and sustainable for this to work for you and your family. And that means there needs to be a profit at the end of the year. And I think it needs to be at least a six-figure profit to have been worth the time, effort, energy, blood, sweat, and definitely tears and snot that went into this business. At least six figures. Ideally, I want you to be getting $10,000 a month of profit out of this business. Yes, that means you're going to pay tax, and that's a good thing. And secondly, it needs to be sustainable. And in order for a business to be sustainable, you need to be paid a market salary for your work. And you're like, why is that, Sarah? Well, if I had to take you out for whatever reason, we had a big wake-up call with Jonny with his health. When we had to take Jonny out and pay someone a market salary to do his job, we had not priced that into our business. And so all of a sudden, the boat business was making no profit because we were paying someone else to do the skipper's job, and we had not priced the next season and the next season after that, because in tourism they often contract you out 2 seasons, and we had some quite big bus contracts pre-COVID that we hadn't priced in paying an $80,000, $90,000, $100,000 skipper and a part-time skipper. We just, the first salary was just Jonny, and he did it for love, for the profit in the business, for the lifestyle that we were living. That doesn't work long term. So you need to have a market salary being paid to you, so that if I needed to take you out because you want to take some time off, you got unwell, you had to take care of someone who got unwell, or you just didn't want to work in your own business anymore, you wanted to just own it, you need to have a salary budgeted in there to pay someone a market salary for the work that you do. And that's what makes the business sustainable. There's 2 parts to it here. The first one is you undervalue your own time, effort, and energy, and so you don't price for that. And then the second part is profitable, sustainable businesses require a profit, and sustainability comes from paying everyone who is efforting in your business a market salary for that work. Most business owners, when I start working with them, if they have employees, they get paid less than all of their employees. And I can absolutely put my hand up and say we have done that over and over and over again in our businesses over the years, and I will not do it anymore. As a general rule, you are doing the bigger thinking, you are doing the higher value tasks as the leader in your business, and you're not being paid appropriately for that. And if we ever had to replace your thinking, you would replace your thinking at that salary level. Make sure you're paying yourself that salary level. This might be an incremental shift that you have to make, and we still want to make it. We still want to get you there. We've been doing this year really deliberately inside the MBA is that we do our strategic plan, and then when someone comes to me and asks me about pricing, I'm like, well, what profit did you say that you wanted to make in the next 12 months, and what salary do you need to be paying yourself? And in a number of cases, about a quarter of the clients in the MBA are husband-wife team. So the wife's part of the program and the husband comes along for the ride. And so what market salary do you want to be paying you and your husband, or just you and your business if there's just one of you? And I'm like, cool, we're going to start from there. We need those numbers. How much profit do you want to make this year? How much salary do you want to make this year? And then we also need, what are the fixed costs of the business? What are the costs just to exist before you sell anything? So some people have like a $10,000 running cost in their business a month. Some people have minimal, $2,000, $1,000. It doesn't matter what number it is, so long as you know it. How much does it cost for me to keep the business operational, doors open per month before I've even sold one thing, 1 hour of my time, one product, one service, one experience? How much does it cost me to keep the doors open? Depending on what sort of business you're in, it's like, what are the direct costs for every unit of product, service, experience that you sell? What are the direct costs to that? So we need to know all of those things before we can price anything. And we want to factor in our salary into the fixed costs. Let's say it's $10,000 a month to keep the doors open on your business before you've sold a unit of anything, and you want to earn $120,000. Your fixed costs to open the doors on your business are actually $20,000 a month, not 10, because that's what the market salary is for your role. Now, if you're like, oh, Sarah, that's a big jump. Cool, I get it. Let's do the numbers on where we need to be long-term first. And then we can come back and go, okay, well, last year I paid myself nothing, because that's often the case. Or I just paid myself all of the profit and it was $100,000. Okay, let's start from that place. And then we incrementally move it. Let's look at what it should be, and then we can reverse engineer from there. $20,000 is now your fixed costs. An example of this is a business that goes out and does cutting down of trees and creating wood and those sorts of things. She said, I don't know how to price this. We've got this really big opportunity. We know how many days it's going to take us. We're not sure if we've got the pricing right. And so we did this exercise. How many days of this work on average do you get in a year? We get 150 days of this a year. Oh, cool. Okay, cool. We're going to get 150 days of this sort of work in the year, which means the profit per day, if we want to make $150,000 of profit this year, is $1,000. Whatever your day rate is, we're going to add that $1,000 in. Plus, we're going to say, okay, well, if we work 10 days in the month and our fixed costs are $20,000, like I said before, we need to put $2,000 on the day rate for this work. The day rate is already $3,000 plus GST. And then on top of that, it's any direct wages, any direct costs that they have in the business that they're going to charge for it. So let's say in this particular instance, it's $1,000. We're now at $4,000 a day for this work. I'm like, cool, how does that sit? And if they look at it and they go, oh, okay, that's a stretch. I'm like, okay, well, we can tweak with the profit, knowing that if you drop your profitability here, that you're going to have less profit at the end of the year. Or they might look at it and go, you know what, I think we could probably charge 5. Let's charge 5 then. Because then we only need to get 75 days this year, not 150. Then maybe we can pay more people more money. Maybe we can invest in some more equipment. Maybe we can invest in some marketing to bring in some more work. We price things with the direct costs, the fixed costs, include your market salary and the profit that we want to make. Now we're charging our time out by the day to do some work. In other businesses, it's like working out how many pairs of glasses do we have to sell? How many units of physio treatments do we have to sell? We're always looking at those numbers. Obviously, there's some other things that come into play, like how many hours do we have the employees for if we're charging out by a 30-minute block or an hour-long block. We are limited on the boat by the boat. We only have one boat, and so we can only run one cruise every day. So we can either sell that by cabins or by bunks, or we can sell it in private charter lots. We have to look at where are the pinch points, where are the bottlenecks in our business then to make sure that we're pricing it correctly. We never assume that we're going to work full noise at capacity the whole time. Why? Because if we did that, we're setting ourselves up to fail right from the start. Pre-COVID, 10% of our employees were off every day. 10%. Either through sickness themselves, sick kids, planned annual leave, bereavement, something that happened that meant they couldn't get to work that day, 10%. Post-COVID, that's 20%. That means if you have 5 employees, one of them is off every day of the week for some reason or another if they're working a normal 9-to-5 working week. If you plan to sell all of the hours every week and you don't account for things like shutting down for the end of the year, your pricing is going to be out of whack. We don't price by looking at the competition. We don't price by going, how can I be cheaper than them? We don't price by going, oh, but my last person said that this was expensive. We don't price by any of those things. We price by what is the business that we want to have long term, and we set our pricing up for that. Are there upper and lower limits? Maybe. I think that if we wanted to go and find some evidence for something that someone was charging a lot of money for, that we could do that. For example, I have a client who does window drawings. And she was like, oh, but people won't pay that much for it. And I was like, won't they? I mean, like, there's kids that do window drawings for free. There's also Banksy, who does the equivalent of street window drawings and street art for millions and millions of dollars. I bet we can find examples of every category of business where there's the free/cheap version and there's the ridiculously off the charts $1 million pricing and everything in between. Instead of looking at the competition next door, we need to think more expansively about how we do it. And then we need to price for our business for our numbers, because those are the only numbers you know. You don't know anyone else's numbers, you're just guessing. And how did I learn all this stuff? I figured all of this out by doing it all the wrong way. We've priced our crews based on other competition. When we put our prices out, as we came out of COVID, people were like, your prices are so expensive. You're so much more expensive than everyone else. And I'm like, yeah, we are. And we can't afford to be at pre-COVID prices. Minimum wage went up 40% over that time. Costs have gone up. Our interest rates have gone up. There is no way we can be at the price we were when we went into lockdown today. Oh, but we need to get restarted. Oh, it's cool. I just don't want to get restarted losing any more money. I've been losing money for the last 2 years. And so this is what we have to think about, is not what everybody else says. The only person that knows your numbers inside out and back to front is you. The only person that knows how much profit you want to make, the only person that can figure out what the market salary for the role that you currently play, or the roles that you currently play in your business is you. And then you can price. But you can't do that by looking at someone else's business and going, but they're charging that, because you don't know all of those pieces of information for that business. Understand what your pricing needs to be made up of. And it's not just matching the competition, and it's not just your fixed costs, and it's not just your direct costs. It's a much bigger, more strategic conversation than that. And so if you haven't got a clear strategic plan that says, here's how much profit I need to make, and in order to make that much profit, here's what my pricing needs to be, and here's the sales, then you need one of those, because that's the filter through which you're going to make these decisions. And the second thing is that your confidence from your pricing comes in knowing your personal worth, but also the worth of the service that you provide. No one that I work with provides a crappy service or a crappy product. They are all phenomenal at what they do, and yet they were charging cheap rates often. I'm like, you can't tell me that you're the best at this and then charge basement prices. If you're the best at it, price like it. It sends all sorts of messages to people based on your pricing. If you haven't raised your prices in the last 12 months, guess what you're doing today? Put your prices up, at least by 10%. If you haven't done it in a few years, it's 10% for every year that you haven't done it. We don't want to shock our clients. So if you haven't done it for a long time, you need to sit down and do some maths and figure out what it needs to be. And you might want to think about, existing clients get to stay somewhere on a certain price point and you bring them up over time, or all new clients go straight to this new rate because they don't know about the old rate. You might have to play around with this a bit. And there is no excuse for keeping your prices the same. Prices must go up. Stop explaining. Stop over-explaining your price. Just state it and then shut up. You'll be surprised how often people agree to it. I do remember when I first got into coaching and I was like, oh, this is so much money. And I asked for the number and they went, yep, how do I pay? I was like, damn it, too cheap, too cheap. Don't speak first after you've said your price. Just state your price, and then the right people will say yes and the wrong people will say no. I had a client recently go, oh, I didn't get this luxury bathroom job. And I was like, oh, that's annoying. And she was like, yeah, they did 3 quotes and they decided not to go with me because I was the most expensive for the drawings. And I was like, oh, that's rough. I go, so which quote did they choose? Oh, the cheapest. And I was like, well, I think you dodged a bullet there. Because if someone wants a luxury bathroom but they want the cheapest designer, There's a disconnect somewhere there. If I want a luxury bathroom, I want to go with the designer that's going to give me the best results, not because it's going to be the cheapest. I want to be with a designer who gets my vision for my luxury bathroom and is going to ensure that they find the luxury goods for my luxury bathroom. I was like, you totally dodged a bullet. So your pricing now becomes something that sifts and sorts through people that you don't want to work with, or that are misaligned, or are saying one thing and meaning another. Instead of discounting what you do, start offering some add-ons, upsells, and some premium options. You can offer a stripped back version for people that just want to get in the door and buy your first product, or buy your first service or first experience. And then you can offer upgrades to that and upsells to that where people want a little more. It's like us. You can come on the boat and have a bunk, or you can come on the boat and have a private cabin. Guess what? You pay more for the private cabin. And guess what we sell more of? The private cabins. It's really important to understand that pricing can help drive customer behavior and help you get to the goal that you want for your life. And in the Moxie world, that's 6 figures of profit at least, and 6 figures of salary at least for you as the business owner, because you deserve a return as the shareholder in the business, a return on investment for your blood, sweat, tears, and probably cash that you put into this business. And you deserve a market salary for the work that you're doing in your business, because 1, you deserve it, and 2, it makes your business sustainable long term if you need to replace yourself in the business for whatever. You're not Walmart. So stop pricing like you are. You need to stop thinking like discount basement warehouse stores and start pricing to get the life you want for you and the people that you love. And when you do that, when you price for profit, when you price for sustainability, magic starts to happen in your business, and more importantly, in your life. Because now you can afford to take the kids on that holiday, go on that date night with your husband, and get the cleaner for your house so that you can be a more present, fun, playful mum and present and maybe even sexy wife with your husband and partner again going forward. Till next time, stay Moxie.